Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Scarland here bringing you a new Magic Legends video. And today I'm actually super excited because we've been waiting for some spoilers and some leaks when it comes to the artifact system in the upcoming title Magic Legends. So we were all under the impression that we kind of thought it was going to be its own system, and it confirms it. So this article was released April 16th of 2020. I don't know when this video is going to go live, so if you're watching it down the road, the beta still hasn't been announced yet. We don't know of any upcoming release times or availability of when this game is going to be available yet. You can still sign up for the beta on the main website, which is just playmagiclegends.com, so make sure you are signed up for the beta. But, so if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, there are cards that are artifacts. And we were kind of interested to find out more about the artifacts because all of the reveals that we had up until this point, they kept the artifacts kind of secret. And it's my assumption is because the artifact system wasn't fully operational yet. Well, now we have some concrete information and they're giving us a leak and a first glimpse of the artifact system. So artifacts are going to be a completely different system from your class and your overall cards, your decks, the spells you're going to be casting. So let's go ahead and we're going to go through this really quickly. In Magic Legends, a player's deck and active class contribute a lot to their unique moment-to-moment combat experience. Character loadouts in Magic Legends involve multiple things. So like I said, you have your deck, which you're casting your spells from. You have different classes, which are the Planeswalkers. And now we also have artifact selection. So the artifact selection to me looks like some kind of passive system. So this combination of systems makes for a highly customizable character playstyle. We're not going to read word for word, guys. I will link the article in the description as well as all the normal links down below. Let's jump right into this. We're going to look at the screenshot and we're going to deep dive the screenshot as well. So you have lesser artifacts. These tend to be small trinkets and oddities that provide benefits in the form of a passive character buff. A player can slot 3 lesser artifacts to augment their planeswalkers. An example, they're using the Arcane Talisman, which is going to provide you a buff of 12.5 utility recharge potency at level 1. And it reduces the cooldown length of a player's utility class ability. So, utility recharge potency essentially reduces the cooldown of the player class ability. If you're not familiar with the player class abilities and how they work, you can navigate back and look at the previous articles that they've already published. Greater artifacts. This type of artifact represents something more powerful, and the effects that come with them reflect that. Greater artifacts provide passive buffs, but they also introduced triggered abilities, which affects the activated as the result of players' actions. A player can choose to design a deck around one of these artifacts and the certain playstyle of the player. You can also slot 2 greater artifacts. An example is Demonic Contract, which at level 1 heals the player for 10% of their health upon sacrificing a summoned creature. So if you're using summoned creature spells in your deck, and then you either sacrifice it, or I'm assuming even if it dies, if you're using the Demonic Contract as your artifact, you're going to actually heal yourself for 10% of the health. Finally, we got the big boy, right? Legendary artifacts. The highest level of legendary artifacts. I'm assuming there's going to be paywalls here and everything else. We have no idea how the overall game is going to be monetized yet. They haven't revealed any of that. So, like greater artifacts, they provide effects that can dramatically impact the battlefield or augment a player's deck. Only 1 legendary artifact can be slotted in a loadout. So players must weigh their power choices to complement their deck according to the preference, basically. So if you're using an artifact, you're kind of building your Planeswalker, your deck, and your artifact. They all have to synergize together. Legendary artifacts, I mean, there's literally probably thousands upon thousands upon thousands of artifacts in Magic the Gathering. Whatever select artifacts they choose, obviously, we want to see the Black Lotus. If the Black Lotus is not in this game, I'm going to obviously be very disappointed. Now, what is the Black Lotus going to do? We know what the card does, right? It gives you 3 colorless mana, you sacrifice the Lotus, it has 0 casting cost. How are they going to entwine that to be useful in a game like this? Are we going to see any of the Moxes? Mox Emerald, Mox Ruby, Onyx, Sapphire, Pearl? We're going to see any of the Moxes? I mean, you're talking about the most powerful cards in the card game. Are we going to see in the virtual game as well? So I'm interested to see. My personal favorite artifact, probably of all time, is the Chaos Orb. So if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, the card game, the Chaos Orb, you flip it onto the battlefield. Whatever the Chaos Orb touches, it destroys. So how are they going to entwine that text and make it into a game version? Are you going to be able to summon the Chaos Orb, and is it going to do just AoE damage or something crazy? Like, these are cards that I personally want to see in this game, because not only do they have nostalgia for Magic the Gathering players, but they're some of the most powerful artifacts overall in the game, right? So coming with this legendary artifacts, there has to be good artifacts coming. They're going to be either locked behind paywalls, some kind of lockbox mechanic. I mean, you're not going to get these legendary artifacts very easily, right? Like, there's going to be something in your way of getting these top tier artifacts, okay? The example they use here is Boots of the Vinewood. Casts a creature spell. They deal 25 damage to foes between themselves and each creature they currently control. So, you know, affected foes are also rooted for a fraction of a second. Literally a quarter of a fraction of a second they're rooted. Interesting. So now they talk about the Relic Caches. So collecting and upgrading artifacts, whereas spells are unlocked and upgraded by collecting numerous spell shards, right? So as you're in the game and you unlock a new card per se, to upgrade that card you have to collect more spell shards to upgrade that said card. Players obtain through combat. Every artifact is unique. Random drop that a player can obtain from Relic Caches they found while exploring the multiverse. Some artifacts can also be crafted by players. This is a huge thing right here. There is a crafting system in this game. Some artifacts will be able to be crafted by players, which is a progression feature that they're going to be covering in the next week's blog. So look forward to that. Look forward to the video that I do on it. Each Relic Cache the player finds has a chance of either unlocking a artifact or providing Relic Fragments. So you're going to need Relic Fragments just like you need spell shards, most likely to upgrade artifacts. Relic Fragments come in 4 levels of rarity: common, uncommon, rare, and mythic, and are used to upgrade artifacts, right? So these are what Relic caches are going to look like. So right away, like I said, this is a Cryptic Studios game. If you're not familiar with how Cryptic Studios makes their game, or games rather, there is going to be some kind of paywall. Is this legendary cache going to be the paywall? Are you going to have to, is the legendary cache going to be a lockbox feature? You're not most likely getting legendary caches to drop in the game for free. That's probably not going to happen. I'd be surprised to even see the epic ones dropping, to be honest. They're going to be locked behind some kind of paywall, guys. It's either a lockbox mechanic or whatever the case may be. I would be very surprised to see top-end content obtainable by playing for free. So expect that. Of course, this is all assumption. This is just my hypothesis toward this because I know how the company operates. But maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong, Like, hopefully these aren't just, pay-to-win items, right? To get a legendary item. Upgrading the level of an artifact increases the effectiveness of all the buffs and abilities associated with them. As the artifact is leveled up, the rarity of materials required to upgrade them gradually increases as well. Like, you're going to keep needing reagents on top of reagents on top of reagents. Again, if you've never played a Cryptic title, this is nothing new for the company. I'm going to use the example of Neverwinter because that's the game that my channel was built on, right? Neverwinter, we have to upgrade our enchantments, right? Not only do we need refinement points to level into the enchantment to increase the enchantment level, but then there's also paywall items like preservation wards and coalescent wards. A coalescent ward basically guarantees an upgrade, right? It's 100%. Say you have a rank 14 enchantment in Neverwinter and you want to make it a rank 15. You have to put all the required refinement points in that enchantment, and then it's like a 3% chance to use reagents, and you have to use preservation wards or your reagents are going to be consumed. Preservation wards just save your reagents if you fell, right? If you use a coalescent ward, it's a 100% guarantee. These are all paid items. These are all items that you have to physically pay. You can get pres wards in the game, but I'm not going to go into depth. I'm just trying to give you guys that don't play Neverwinter, that are watching this video for Magic Legends information, what you can expect to see with this whole upgrading system. I don't think it's going to be any different. This is normal Cryptic development, so just expect that. As far as synergies go, they talk about this. The final unlockable ability of greater and legendary artifacts is called synergy. These abilities don't do anything on their own. However, they allow the player to tailor the triggered ability to their artifact based upon something like their deck composition. A triggered ability may have an effect that occurs whenever a player summons a creature, for example. The synergy could be that effect itself is more powerful for each sorcery spell. So if we're talking about this, they're talking about the helm here. It's when a creature you control dies for the first time, it resurrects with 25% of its hit points and gains lifelink. That creature gains lesser haste for 5.25 seconds and loses 5% of their max hit points every second. So if you're building a creature deck, the Helm of Ves here isn't bad, right? And then you also have the artifact unlocks. It's plus 22 life on kill, which unlocks at rank 10. And then creatures return with 5% additional life for each sorcery spell in your deck. So say you're running a deck which can only have 12 cards, 5 of them are sorceries, and the rest are creatures. So that's 5% additional life for each sorcery spell in your deck. This is a very powerful artifact if you're running a creature deck. And this is just a glimpse. Like I said, I'll link the article. You guys can go through this as well. Artifacts infuse Magic Legends with the spirit of the iconic card game feature while also adding another path of character advancement. And then, of course, we have Matt Campbell, who wrote the article, and the community manager winner. So let's take a look at this overall picture because there's some little tidbits of information here that they didn't actually mention in the article itself. If we blow this up here, so not only do we have the loadouts, right? All this stuff can be under one loadout because you could play multiple loadouts. Again, most likely a paid feature of the game. You want to buy multiple loadouts, it's most likely going to cost you. So under one loadout, you can have a class, decks, artifacts, and we don't know nothing about no traits yet, right? Nothing about traits yet, so we'll have to wait and see what traits are. So we're looking at current artifacts. This is a legendary, right? They said you can have one legendary. It's literally a triangle system here. You have your legendary artifact at the top. You get 2 graders and then 3 lesser artifacts. So you get 5 total, right? Or I'm sorry, 6 total. You get 6 total artifacts. Now this right here is Blasting Station. It's currently ranked 10. I'm assuming they go to rank 20 as the max. Now, they didn't mention this in the article, but in the previous picture, like I showed in the previous picture down here, it goes up to level 20. There's 2 abilities on this. One you unlock at level 10, one you unlock at level 20. It's safe to assume right now that the max level for artifacts is most likely level 20. It'll probably increase as the game progresses, we'll just have to wait and see, right? So Blasting Station is currently level 10. It's a legendary. It would be in the top spot here. When you cast a creature spell, creatures you control gain rank 1 Molten Shell for 3 seconds. Alright? So we don't really know what Molten Shell does, right? Unless you memorize all the cards. I, in particular, don't know what Molten Shell does. I'm assuming it's like a damage shield, most likely, or some kind of shield. Now, at rank 10, you also unlock the unlock. So, 125 sorcery damage potency increases the damage output of sorcery spells you cast. So, say you're running a mono red deck, and you're just stacking lightning bolts. Maybe you're not even running creature spells. Say you're running a solely based solo mono red deck, and you have lightning bolts and chain lightning and all a bunch of direct damaging spells that are all sorceries. Well, now all those sorceries, if you're running this Blasting Station as your legendary artifact, all those sorceries are getting plus 125 damage potency. Now, we don't know what the exact numbers are. 125, I'm assuming that's a nice hunk of damage. We don't know what the damage looks like overall in this game. So, now if you get this to level 20, plus 1 Molten Shell rank for every red sorcery in your deck, right? So you kind of have to synergize this, right? Because you need creatures and you need sorceries. So if you toss a couple creatures in there and a bunch of sorceries, maybe one enchantment, and then you can build your deck around this artifact. Now here's the stuff I want to mention that they didn't say in the article itself. And this is what I noticed right away, right? We have 2 separate currencies, right? We have gold and we have Aether. Now, I'm guessing that Aether is either one of 2 things. Aether is going to be the pay-to-win currency, because don't get me wrong, there's going to be pay-to-win currency. Again, I'll use the Neverwinter example. In Neverwinter, we have gold, we have Astral Diamonds, and then we have Zen. Zen is the currency that you would buy with real-life currency. Astral Diamonds can be earned in the game, and as well as gold can be earned in the game. So this is either one of 2 things. Aether is either the pay-to-win currency that you're going to actually pay real-life money for, or Aether is the reagent that you're going to have to use to upgrade artifacts. Now, since we're on the artifact screen, I'm going to go with the latter. I don't think this is the monetization pay-to-win currency. I think these are comparison to refinement points in Neverwinter. They're literally called refinement points in Neverwinter. And Magic Legends, I betcha that's what this is. I think we're going to be using Aether to pump up our artifacts, and then again, they're going to use the same exact system that they used in Neverwinter. You're either going to need like something like Preservation Wards or Coalescent Wards, and then there's going to be the reagents they kind of talked about, right? We're going to need Artifact Fragments. So that's my assumption. Go ahead and leave me a comment below on what you think the Aether actually is. That's my hypothesis on it. They didn't say anything in this entire article about Aether, so I just wanted to point that out and see what happens. But overall, I'm very excited for this. I think it's an interesting system for the sheer fact that you can run 6 artifacts. Obviously, the lesser ones are lesser. The graders are mid-tier, but they're still going to give you pretty good bonuses. And then the legendary, of course, is going to be the big daddy. So the game, we're slowly getting more information about. And so far, I like what I'm seeing. But again, it all depends on what is the monetization behind this. How hard is it going to be to actually obtain legendary artifacts? What are the paywalls behind it? How hard is it going to be to upgrade these artifacts? Like, there's a lot of questions still that we just simply don't have the answer to. We're all just sitting back waiting for the beta at this point. So this is going to wrap this video up, covering the newly released information regarding the artifact system. Again, I will link this in the description if you want to go ahead and browse the whole article. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subbed to the channel for all the latest Cryptic Gaming, amazing, awesome news. GG. Yeah. Did you get the enthusiasm right there, boys? Links in the description, as always. Make sure you hop in the Discord. We actually just launched the merchandise store, so that's a thing now. So make sure you check out the merchandise store, and I'll see you guys real soon.